have described comments made by Mr. Chachu Chikata, the lead counsel of the NDC, who accused Justice Enimyebua of allowing his political bias to cloud his judgment in a just-ended election petition hearing as unwarranted, unfair, and an attempt to indict the integrity of the Supreme Court justices. Now, what is likely to be the implications of Mr. Chikata's statement? And this is our big story for today. My name is Bright Nanamfo. Thanks so much for staying there for us. Now, Article 114 or 144 Clause 2 of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana mandates President to appoint judges to the Supreme Court. As many as 6 justices of the 9 justices on the panel that sat on the Supreme Court hearing were appointed into office under the NPP government. On Saturday, August 31, Mr. Chikata was reported to have accused Justice Enimyebua of political bias, insisting that throughout the hearing of the election petition, the judge allowed his political affiliation to cloud his judgment. The report also indicated that Justice Enimyebua consistently took on opposing stance against the NDC's argument and position in the course of the hearing, because he was appointed as a judge by ex-president Mr. John Kufuor. In a reaction issued by the office of former president Mr. John Kufuor, it is noted that with surprise and dismay, attacks impugning the integrity of Mr. Justice Enimyebua, one of the 9-member panel of the Supreme Court justices on the recent election petition. Now, Mr. Chachu Chikata, the lead counsel for the NDC, the former president's office finds the comment that Mr. Enimyebua voted in a certain manner because he was appointed into office under the NPP government to be unacceptable and unwarranted, especially because there is evidence that all the judges voted on 3 of the 6 main issues before the panel in one way and variously differed on the other 3. Now, the statement wished to further put on record that as many as 6 of the 9 justices on the panel were appointed into office under the NPP government, and therefore it is unfair to single out one because of a faction in the case he finds a way he is purported to have voted unacceptable. The office is fully satisfied that Mr. Justice Enimyebua is wholly qualified to be a Supreme Court judge, as he was appointed to the position on merit. Mr. Chachu Chikata, with his long standing at the bar, should be appreciative of this and refrain from making remarks that will bring the bench into disrepute. Now, the statement from the former president's office conclude that the office of the former president cautions Ghanaians to desist from making comments that will threaten the peace and stability of the country. So that long statement from the office of the president, and that is what we're going to look at today on today's big story. My guest is already in the studio, the president of the Legal Advocacy Foundation, Dr. Murray Sample. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Now, it's been 8 months of wranglings and up and down in court. Last Thursday saw the verdict. We thought it was calm, and then all of a sudden we have this issue of Mr. Chikata insisting that one of the justices has done something he thinks not right. Is this something normal you see among the legal fraternity after cases, lawyers speaking on certain justices who have perhaps ruled on certain cases?
To start with, I think that we have, as a lawyer, we have a legal duty towards the bench.
Right.
And one of the duties is to respect the bench and not to bring the bench into disrepute, expose them to public hatred and contempt, and not to run down the bench. We should not antagonize the bench and then pick on individual judges based on their pure...
And this is an issue that Mr. Tuguba really has spoken about it several times.
During Sir John's encounter, he said, look, we will not allow politicians and lawyers understanding like Sir John to run down the judiciary. It's exactly the same. This comment is so much unfortunately coming from a seasoned lawyer like Chachu Chikata, who is not only a seasoned lawyer, but has won a legal battle.
Right.
He's part of the legal team, so he should be satisfied. So this comment is premature, unfair, and unnecessary. Why? One, has Chachu have the benefit of reading Justice individual judgment? No. The individual judgment is not ready.
It's yet to be made ready.
So on what basis did he can you say that he's biased? You've not read the judgment. So it is unfair. It is a personal attack, and I'm saying that the man has an Inyebwa already at heart. I'm sorry. They should go back and look at previous cases, and they think that Inyebwa have not dealt fairly, as well as his case involving the incarcerated station, involving this an attempt to bring a foreign mission to testify, and I think that Inyebwa ruled against, and so Chachu has that thing. And that is what is bringing on board. But it's unfair because you have 9 justices.
So you're saying that Mr. Chachu Chikata does not have the benefit of reading the verdict. And so to go ahead and make those statements unfortunate, are you suggesting that if he had read the verdict, the statement that he made last Saturday would have been something that the law will not frown on?
Yeah, at least when you have the judgment, then when you read, and it doesn't make sound well, you don't even have the legal and the moral right to attack the person.
Right.
You see, because if you need a strong evidence beyond reasonable doubt somebody is biased, you don't attack somebody as a biased person if the evidence are not there. So I'm saying that even the person's judgment is already, you have not had the benefit of looking at the judgment, and then you are now taking the person on, and sadly enough, you are now attacking him politically. That his MPP, as if you know it's out of fact, he should prove it beyond reasonable doubt. Whether does Inyebwa have a membership card, or does he belong as a vote, or can you prove that he's an MPP member?
Can it be taken on by the Supreme Court?
Definitely, I am calling for the justices to cite Chachu Chikata for contempt of court. Because you see, when Sir John attacked Justice Atuguba, he was brought before the court. Why Chachu Chikata? You see, and these are some of the things that people raise. And you see, we need to be fair and truthful and honest to ourselves. I'm not only calling on the judiciary, I'm calling on civil society. When Sir John heard, everybody was on Sir John. Now, what about Chachu Chikata? We are making Chachu Chikata as if he's above the law. And that is exactly what is happening. Because now, Chachu has also attacked one of their own. An attack on Atuguba is wrong, and Atuba can take a job on, then attack on Inyebwa should also be seen attack on the Nigerians, because you see, if you don't cite Chachu and bring Chachu openly in before the cameras, and then let's deal with Chachu the way we dealt with Sir John, what is going to happen is that now you open the floor gates
for people to make
also to start attacking the judges based on the way they also voted. So if you have the judges who also did not vote in favor of the petitioners, they also begin to look at the political colors. Is it because, for example, some of them were appointed by the former Lawrence also? So you see that, and then when they begin to attack the other ones, how can you, what moral grounds or legal basis can you also cite them for contempt of court? So it's a serious matter that I think that the Supreme Court justices should, as a matter of principle. If not, when people begin to attack them, they will not have the moral and legal authority. Legally, constitutionally, they can, but morally, you can't do that. It will be unfair. So I'm saying that Chachu Chikata comment, either he should come openly and eat an apple pie by withdrawing that statement and apologizing to Justice Inyebwa before he cited for contempt of court. Failure to do so, nobody should be blamed if other judges are being attacked.
That is your view. Let me also sort some views of other people, legal brains. Samson Ladi Yenine is on the phone lines. Now, Samson, great to have you on today's big story. Now, first of all, the former president's office is asking that Ghanaians should tone down on some of these attacks on the justices who just ruled on the election petition. Now, we heard what happened last Saturday when the lead counsel of the NDC suggested that Justice Inyebwa voted based on his political color. That kind of statement, how would you react to it as a legal practitioner?
I have a very tall article in which I address the matters that I'm raising. I say without any regret, without any equivocation, without any apology, that the comments were unfortunate, more especially that they are coming from an eminent lawyer like Chikata, who has such great respect within the bar and the bench, who is a teacher of the law, and who has many of his students now practicing the law. The point to note is that the judges have sworn an oath, and the oath is that they will do justice without fear or favor, and that they will do to all manner of persons in the exercise of their duties be fair, and they will not act with ill will or affection to all manner of persons.
Right.
That is the basis, a foundation of their calling. But like Chikata noted himself, they are human beings, and so there could be occasions where they may falter. But when they do, there are avenues through which they ought to be called to order. There are avenues. There are about 3 avenues available. First of all, if you don't want to take a petition to the Chief Justice's office or to that particular place that's been designated to receive such complaints, you can take it to the GBA, the Ghana Bar Association. If you think it's a matter that borders on the conduct of a lawyer himself, you could take it to the General Legal Counsel. Now, when you do that, when you take a complaint of misconduct, professional misconduct, or bias, which is also professional misconduct, as Chikata is raising, they will call the judge involved, or if it's a lawyer, the lawyer will be called, and you both will be given the opportunity to make your case. And if the person is found to have misconducted himself indeed, then sanctions, disciplinary sanctions will be taken against the person.
Right.
So my only concern is that these channels ought to have been activated if what you have is not only suspicion, but if you have evidence to substantiate them. Because it is also key to note that the judges, by their ethics and by their oath, they are not allowed to get into the public discourse with everybody.
Right.
They are not allowed to reply, and they are not allowed to react publicly on the media or anywhere else. So it is only fair that if you have issues against them, you take it to the forum where they will be afforded the opportunity to also respond.
Let me pick your brains on this. Now, as you people, legal practitioners will always tell us, the law is a matter of fact, not emotions. Now, do you think in this situation, perhaps, Mr. Chikata might have been overtaken by his own emotions instead of relying on the fact?
Well, right. Once again, it's unfortunate. I have had occasion to comment on this after I had issued my article seeking to educate the generality of the Ghanaian populace about what ought to be done in such situations. I do not want to speak for the eminent lawyer. I am hoping that he himself might find reason to come forward and to say that, one, I have evidence of what I'm saying, and so I'm going to submit the evidence and allow the investigative processes to go through, and if the judge is found guilty, the judge be punished. Or to say, two, that I think my comments were not in tandem with the ethics of the profession, and I regret them. On hindsight, I think that I should have chosen my words more carefully, and so I retract and apologize.
Now, with what has happened, he has gone public with the issue that he thinks that Justice Edim Yeboah is biased. Now, if he decides to take his case to the GBA or the various processes you're talking about, would he then might have perhaps put his evidence or his case in a way that perhaps will be difficult for him to prove?
You see, it's unfortunate in the first place that what has happened has happened. But that does not mean that we cannot correct the situation. So
right.
I am saying that, to my mind, the two options are available. He's already gone public, but he has not substantiated the allegations publicly. So if he has the evidence, he can go and submit the evidence to the appropriate courts, and then the proper procedure will be followed. And if in the end, Justice Eninyeboah is found guilty.
Hello, Samson. Well, I've lost Samson Ayeni on the 4 lines, a legal practitioner. We're trying to find out exactly what happened and why it happened and what should be done. And he's suggesting that perhaps if Mr. Chikata would go through the proper procedures, things can be put right. Let me come back to you. Now, the suggestion is that there are avenues for some of these things to be addressed. And he's mentioned that if the evidence is there, he can take it up and get it dealt with. Why wouldn't lawyers... What will cause an eminent lawyer to not to follow procedures?
I think it's I don't know how to choose my words, but it's like I can't believe that this is happening. Immediately a lawyer have won a case. I'm expecting a lawyer who have won a case to be happy and rather to tell people that God has been good to me and the judges have done well. You know, you don't look at what your negative, you look at your positive. But I think that he was pushed. And I personally will also
he was pushed to make those comments.
I also somehow blame the one who hosted him on the program.
Right. Let me wrap up with Samson and come back. Now, Samson, sorry, the line dropped, but you were making a comment. You were landing when the line dropped.
All right, and I think I've heard my senior on the line also make quite almost the same point. Just that I am emphasizing on the channels that are available for complaints and redress of a lawyer's frustrations or disappointment where there is evidence to back those situations of alleged misconduct, professional misconduct. And I feel that that is what ought to have been activated. That it has not been activated, and we have had this situation, this thing in the public, does not mean it should end there. We can still go back and do the right thing. But you see, it is also wrong for those who are saying, well, Chachu has opened the floodgate, so we can also hit us, choose and pick some of the judges we also feel belong to the other side of the political divide, and also, run them down. It is wrong. Two wrongs do not make a right. That is the thing that we ought to note.
Right.
And importantly, the matter of contempt of court is not over. You have every right. This same court, this same Supreme Court, has said that a multitude of suspicions put together cannot constitute proof.
Right.
If you have just bare suspicions, keep them to yourself, or handle them in a manner that does not damage the reputation of another person. But if you have evidence, take them to the right place. And again, this same court has said that criticism of the judgment or criticism of the court, no matter how rambunctious, is not above or beyond the limits that are allowed by the law. So when the judgment is available, I don't know why people are in so much in a hurry to do analysis, and I'm even asking myself, what is the basis of the analysis? You can't put something on nothing. What judgment are you looking at to make the criticism and analysis?
Right.
Why can't we just wait? And you see, when the judgment is available, you can make the most violent criticism of the judgment. But you cannot and you should not scandalize the court. You should not raise scurrilous abuse and impute ill motives on the judges. That is as simple as that. What is our difficulty in being measured and tempered in the way we go about our criticism?
I'm tempted to let you go, but just before you go, what is happening, and perhaps several others, where certain justices of the court have been painted in certain colors of political parties, then it opens a window that perhaps we should begin to look at even the way our justices are appointed to the court.
There's nothing wrong with the formula presently. There's nothing wrong. The process is so extensive. There's so much involvement. The people who are appointed are supposed to be people who are appointed on merit and not because of their political color.
But where you find people reading into what kind of colors they are wearing, then it is worrying.
That's the unfortunate aspect, and we must stop it.
Right.
When we have the evidence, let's go to the appropriate quarters and make sure that we procure sanctions for those who are erring, rather than go about elevating suspicions into the manner that we are going about it now. It's most unfortunate. It should not happen.
Thank you so much. Samson Ladi Ayenini is a legal practitioner there talking to me. Let me come back to the studio. So it is worrying, especially because then every judge sitting there was nominated by or appointed by one president or the other. So a case that is adjudicated on could be seen to have been given that a particular ruling based on who appointed who.
Oh, and quite clearly you can see from this ruling that even the majority of the judges were appointed by the Kufuor, and most of them rule in favor of the petitioners.
Right.
You
in
have,
favor of the respondent. Right.
So this issue of people during the trial, Justice Doche was attacked that he was holding the MPP card. You can't remember. Then he came out to dare his critics that they should come out and prove it. And another day, what did he do? He voted in favor of the respondent. Bafo Boni, the same. He was promoted under Kufuor from High Court, Cape Court appeal to the Supreme Court. But what did he do? He voted in favor of the respondent. You see, so this issue, let's be honest to ourselves. The 9 justices, they did vote.
Right.
It's normal. But they are professionals. When it comes to delivery of judgment, you cannot have political influence on your life because your judgment will be scrutinized, will be tested, tried and tested.
Share this with me. Now, Samson is suggesting that if you have any evidence of improper conduct, as he said, on the part of a judge, you can go to any of the 3 avenues he raised and have it properly discussed there, and then the lawyer and the judge will be made to go through some procedure. And if indeed the judge is found to have done something wrong, he can be punished for it. Is it a procedure that is so easy, very easy to be done? It's
very easy. It is ongoing, but people don't know. It's ongoing. That is why we are able to get a judge recently jailed. Right. The Chief Justice recently jailed. It's ongoing every day. Go to the Chief Justice office, headed by the Judicial Secretary. They have a disciplinary committee. They call it judicial inquiry. Day in and day out. I have a case where I'm defending a judge. I have a case where I'm also defending somebody who have accused a judge of misconduct. A judge who have made judicial statements. So day in and day out, these procedures are there. The Chief Justice is so much happy to receive this complaint. And we have a complaint unit. Boldly has come out. Please, if you have evidence, come and lay it so that the judge will be having opportunity to also be heard on the issue. But as rightly put by my junior, if you go out there in the public and accuse a judge of bias, he cannot, by his profession, come out there and challenge you and have a public discourse. Right. He cannot do that. So it's unfair on the part of anybody to go out there to the public and attack a judge based on his political color. It's so sad. It's so sad. And this attack, it is so dangerous that we don't see what is going to happen to any member.
You made the point that it then opens the room for others to weave in and also make all kinds of statements or attacks on the judiciary.
My fear is that the petitioners are not happy. You see, the petitioners who have lost the case want a way out.
Right.
And they are ready to also look at those who voted against them and ready to attack. Then you have a winning team attacking one of theirs, while one of them who, unfortunately, on the minority side, voted for them.
Right.
So So you give the opportunity for them also to come hard at other judges. You see, but my worry is that as we speak right now, Chacho's comment has exposed Enimi Yeboah to public hatred, contempt, and ridicule by NDC supporters. They will hate him, they will not like him. It's a threat on the security. You know, and you don't do that because then if he will feel threatened going to places where NDC strongholds are, you know, and then this attack of being MPP is not good because I believe that all the judges, whether I like it or not, might have some love for a particular party, but they don't get into active politics. They are political animals.
Is the Bar Association in the position to quickly act on this?
Yes, definitely. They have what it takes to do so. They have what it takes to do so. And I believe the General Legal Council also have what it takes to do so. Because this thing is now in the public domain. So they can invite Chachu. The General Legal Council also can invite Chachu. In fact, the judge can also make a complaint. Any member can go out there and make a complaint at the General Legal Council and the Ghana Bar Association and then make a petition to the Chief Justice. And then Chachu will be called upon. And when he fails to do so, sanction will flow. We want to seize that. So that it will send a strong signal out there. Once Chachu is dealt at any forum, then everybody it will deter people from coming out because Chachu has also been dealt with. So if because judges cannot cite him for contempt, let's see the other avenues where Chachu will be dealt with. In the public, where his findings and everything is made known, if he goes there and he justifies his comments, fine. If he fails to do so,
provide that evidence that is needed, then that's fine. That's what you want to say.
And yes, if you are able to provide the evidence. But my worry is that where is the judgment? Is that why is it any member judgment is not ready? So what is the basis? And it will surprise you that when you take this judgment and you read, you will not see any political bias because the judgment will be very interesting to read.
You have not seen it too.
That's the thing. That is why I'm saying that. That is why it's early. That's why I'm not attacking him. Once I've not seen that, I say, don't attack him. And normally it's a contempt of court to attack the person. Attack is judgment. But the judgment is not seen.
Not the person involved.
Not the person involved. Go and look at the judgment and make a critic. Nobody will. But immediately after you won a case, you go out and attack a judge personally, mention a name. If Chachu could have gone this way, like he believes that some judges were
mentioning
the name. So that one, people will find it difficult to find out who is the one he's referring to, and he would have had it easy than to go out and attack that person, the judge. And today, look at what is happening in the news, where they say now you have people like Sir John coming in to defend. But rather he says he's defending the judiciary. But now you have a situation whereby you have becoming an issue.
Right.
It's unfair. It's unfair.
Thank you so much, Dr. Maurice Ampah, for talking to the president of the Legal Advocacy Foundation there. We've been talking about this particular issue, and of course, a lot of sentiments being raised there. From the office of the former President Kufuor, cautioning Ghanaians to be careful the way they make comments about exactly what the situation is, and asking all to ensure we have peace after the Supreme Court verdict. Thank you so much, and don't forget that the show is not ended yet. The JN Interactive segment is right after this, and we'll be trying to let you know how does one becomes a Supreme Court judge. We've done some survey, we've been talking to people, legal minds. We'll tell you more about that when we come right away. Marianne is getting ready. We'll join me in the studio very soon. Stay there. I'm not going yet.